guys, I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis Effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode.
This episode is brought to you by Unidragon.com. Unidragon puzzles are great for the whole family to participate in because they are not only beautifully crafted, they are really a work of art. You can put this together and then literally hang it on your wall afterwards, and they have all these beautiful colors and shapes and animals, and you've got a great site to navigate through. The prices are fantastic. They're wooden puzzles, and they are very, very reasonably priced. So it's something that you can keep forever. You can give it to a gift. If you know somebody who loves lions, you can send them a lion and they can put it together, and it's like kind of a keepsake. It's a beautiful gift. Use promo code DRAGONA1 through July 31st and you will receive a 10% discount on any puzzle that you purchase. One of my favorite puzzles on the Unidragon.com is a world puzzle, and it's a mirrored glass, and it's just beautiful. I could see this piece of art in my house, like behind my couch or on a big giant wall. It's a beautiful puzzle. They're really well handcrafted. The Unidragon exclusive wood world map comes in sapele, oak, mirrored, and walnut, and they are just beautifully handcrafted. It is a work of art. It's magnificent. Please visit Unidragon.com and use the promo code DRAGONA1 and you will receive a 10% discount. And you could find maybe your favorite animal or your favorite shape and definitely give it as a gift. It's a great company. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Cory. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually really good. I'm still hanging on. Oh. Hanging on to one. Got one. All I need is one because I need one for our Zoom.
Right.
And so I'm really happy that I still have one.
You didn't ask me how I was doing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How are you?
I'm very hurt.
What?
I am. I'm very hurt.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Did I do something?
It's what you didn't do.
Is it your birthday?
No. No, I spent all week preparing new microphones and everything in the studio. You haven't said how wonderful the new microphones look or how
Actually, I did, and it's just not on camera, but I did. I said these look really... Okay, well, these are beautiful microphones. I can't believe... The whole studio, every time I come in, something new. I mean, it's like the Gorilla Tape, the green room. I love this green room. Alien tape. I'm so sorry. Everything is looking amazing.
Well, I bought this mic, and there's another one which you can't see, which one we have guessed.
They're gorgeous.
Just for you. These are the Shure... God, I want to say, hold on, I know the exact name of it. The SM7B microphone. They are podcast microphones, so it won't pick up the other guest or me on your microphone, but you got to speak right into it.
That's so cool.
I know.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Am I speaking right into it?
I can hear you.
Okay.
And it looks much better than the other
No,
ones,
it's
too.
beautiful. These are awesome. Did the new arms come with it, too, or just the mics?
Separate.
Oh, okay.
They're not made for it, but everything works together.
That's so nice. Now, is this a mic, too?
No, that's the cable.
Oh, that's the cable. I see. Wow.
That's how it gets
I know.
the sound
It is very
from.
nice. Congratulations.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
As long as I'm appreciated, I'm okay.
I do appreciate
I
you.
know you do.
I tell everybody I appreciate you. I mean, I can do this.
Only once a day.
Okay, sorry.
So what would you like to talk about? First of all, who's our guest?
Our guest is William Wilson. They know him as the Clothier, and he is truly... Honestly, this guy is just so talented, and I just can't wait for him to share his story. He's an entrepreneur, a clothing designer. He kind of fell into it by happenstance. He's a military Hall of Famer. He is the first African-American NASCAR driver winner. He was in the pit crew on 3 championships.
Wow.
Yes, he's a golfer. There's really not much
like
this guy can't do. I know, right? Yeah. He was in the Navy for a long time, like 8 or 9 years, and he's just really an all-around great guy. And I reached out to him. We've known each other for a long time, and he said, sure.
And his name is?
William Wilson.
Okay, so you sent me a text saying his name was William Clothier.
No, I said William the Clothier, as we call him the Clothier, is coming on to the show.
I sent him an email with the Zoom information that said, Dear Mr. Clothier, here's your...
Well, I'm so sorry, William, but we know him as the Clothier. He's considered the Clothier. He actually, he's named Charlotte's best custom clothier in 2015, 2016, and 2017. I mean, nothing this guy does. He's got literally like the Midas touch. And so I'm excited to talk about him talk with him today because he's got some great golden nuggets, some stories to tell on how he got to where he is. Okay. So it's pretty amazing.
All right. So what else is on your mind?
Well, I don't know. I
don't know, but let me tell you about this.
What?
you said, I don't know, but this is what I want to talk
I
about.
never like to go negative, but I do like to say that, I try to be accessible to people.
That's true. You are.
I do. And not everybody I can be, but I really try hard. And I've been in the entertainment industry for a very long time now. And there are 4 major agents. UTA, they're United Talent Agency. William Morris. CAA, Creative Artists Agency. And ICM, International Creative Management.
Okay.
They are the 4 agents that you don't call them, they call you.
Gotcha.
And when you start to work for them and with them, a lot of agents will develop this, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it's called. But they simply won't take your call unless they know your name.
Really?
Yes, 100%. And I called an agent today to speak to him about some talent.
To get on the show? Or?
Just for various things.
Okay.
And they just won't take your call. And, that's fine. It's okay. I don't expect them to know my name, but I come from a different world. Right. I might not be able to help you, but I will take your call.
Yes, and you always should. Even
You
if it's 5 or
always
10
should.
minutes. Yeah.
But there's just this mentality. And I what's funny is that, nobody's back to work. And so when you call them, the phone just kind of keeps ringing. And then somebody answers their phone in like their bathroom. And it's like, sounds like a tin can, right? Because no one's really back at work right now because of COVID. But
when you say they didn't take your call, they didn't answer, or they said,
well, they answered.
They said, thank you, over.
They answer, but you can't get past the assistants.
Okay, so what does the assistant
It's
say? When you
literally
say, "I
like
wanna
a
talk to
defense
Mr.
team.
Jones," or whatever his name is?
They'll say this. This is a typical answer. This is what they'll say. You call. Be the assistant.
Well, no, you have to be the assistant because I'm the one.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Hi, this is Cory Oliver. I'd like to talk to Mr. Jones.
Oh, great. Hang on one second. And then come back and they say, I'm so sorry, he's busy right now.
He's not busy. He just doesn't want to take my call.
He
You
doesn't
put
know
Mr.
my
Jones on
name.
the phone.
Seriously,
Yeah,
it's
I
so
get
funny.
that.
They just will not unless they know your name. And, there's 4 agents. I'm not going to tell which one it is because I don't like throwing people under the bus.
That's
but
Mr. Jones.
Right.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you, it used to happen to me all the time. I used to call like a law firm and I would say, is Mr. Smith there? And if the receptionist or the secretary would say, hold on, please, if they came back and said, who's calling, then went away and then came
That's
back
what
and
they
said
do.
he's busy, that's bull. And I used to call them on it every time. I said, you came back, said, who is it? Then you said no. Yeah. Or the most important thing was, or the worst one was, I would call up and say, is Bill there? And she would say, yeah, may I ask who's calling? I said, yeah, it's me, or give my name, Bob Victor. And they come back and says, oh, he's not in the office right now. I said, okay, I've been to your office. It's 2 rooms. When you answered the phone, you knew whether he was there or not. So I know he's there and he doesn't want to take my call. So, yeah,
Well, that happens all the time, and that's what they'll do. And then they'll say, do you know what this is regarding? Or, and then they get all the information and they go and then they won't talk to you. But I just, I feel like we're kind of all in this together, and just to take a quick call and not, even if you can't. But it's okay because I actually found a way around to get to the talent that I needed to.
oh, good.
So it's funny because it doesn't always happen where you need them,
Right.
but you could make a good connection if you wanted, right? So
Yeah, but how do you, so we were called by an agent about a guest that's going to come on in a couple episodes. And she just found us out. And, I could have ignored the email, but we took the email. And then after talking to her, she's a pretty important agent who's got many, many other guests. Mm-hmm. And I don't take that call, and we don't get the 20 or 30 guests that eventually is going to come here because of her. So, yeah, you always take the call.
And I get it. Like, you have to be careful, and you don't have, a lot of people contact the agent because that's the only way to get, it's the liaison to get
Right.
to the talent. But they should be able to, weed that out. I mean, that's not but anyway.
Yeah, my rule is if I was a talented person, I would never work with them. When I got to be famous and they were calling me, no, because Mr. Jones didn't take my call, so now I'm going over to one of the other 3, and you tell Mr. Jones that he's the one.
Right. I mean, Jerry Maguire wouldn't do this.
No, Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire, you would not do this. You would take the call.
Yes. He only had 1 client.
He only had 1 client, I know. But he had a great mission statement, and that's how I believe.
I always find it funny when you hear stories of, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's first agent, or the first one he went to, said, you'll never act. Mm-hmm. You have a freakish body, you have a crazy name, you can't speak, you'll never make it in this business. And he becomes one of the top box office grossing actors of all time. If I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, that guy gets a card every year. Hey, just signed another $50 million deal that you could have had 15% of. Or,
I'm always like, if you say never, then you can pretty much bet on it's going to happen.
Yes.
Because it's the same thing happened to me.
I'm never going to win $1 million.
Right.
I'm never going to win the lottery.
Me either.
No, I said it first.
Well,
Right,
I
so
just
William
am very excited.
Clothier Wilson.
No, William Wilson, the Clothier.
Okay.
Yes, he's really a wonderful
Well,
guy.
a name like Wilson, you ought to be good at golf, right?
And yes, or basketball. And
Or volleyball.
He just created
Getting
a T-shirt.
stuck on a desert island.
Right. He just
Did you get that one? Or go
was
over
it
your
a
head?
volleyball or basketball?
No, Wilson was a volleyball.
Huh. I whole time I thought it was basketball.
Are you
I
serious?
swear.
It was white with hexes on it, or a hexagonal.
Can you see the hot flash coming? Can you?
It's because we can't turn the air on while we're filming.
Sorry.
Did you almost fall?
No.
Half of my teachers told me not to lean on my chair. My mother told me not to lean on my chair. My entire life, don't lean on your chair. They were right. You could fall.
I have fallen several times. Right.
You're still leaning on the chair. I can see it.
It's very difficult to sit in because it doesn't go all the way under because of the arms.
It does if you push the button. It goes down a little.
But then if I slide it in, it's a whole complicated thing. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, sitting in a chair is very difficult. It's a lot harder than most
Me, it
people
is.
think. Don't laugh. So, tell me how your day was.
My day's really good.
Good.
It's really good. Every day is a blessing, and every day is really good, and I'm very grateful to be here. Oh, I
that was
stripped my
that was a
finger.
knuckle crack. All right, so
Yes.
William the Clothier Wilson.
William the Clothier Wilson is coming on, and
And if you're an agent, answer Cory's calls.
or don't, I'll find a way to your talent. You know, that's the one thing that they don't realize, like persistence is the key to success. And honestly, there's so many people, and once you've established a relationship and some sort of imprint in the industry, people will take your call.
Yes.
And so, you know, you're never too big or small to take someone in the industry's call. Come on, like it's just, we're all in this together.
And do the pretty woman thing when you make it big. Should have taken my call. Big mistake. Huge.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake. No, I don't hold it against people. I mean, listen, one of my friends told me years ago, it's all about clarity. And some people have it and some people don't.
Right.
And some people are on their way in different levels, right? And so I don't get mad. I literally just find another way. You can just find another way. The agent isn't the only way to some talent. I have people, now that there's social media, you can get to talent a lot
Yeah, that's
easier,
true.
right?
I don't get mad. I just vent on my podcast for 10 minutes.
Well, what's interesting is this person actually reached out to me.
The actor or the
Yes,
agent?
the actor actually reached out to me, and then I was trying to go through his agent, but I'm just going to go through his assistant now.
That makes perfect sense, yes.
I was being kind, and I was
Yes.
doing it the right way.
And then you tell the actor, the agent doesn't get 15% of this because he didn't want to be involved.
You're right. Well, I don't really, I don't want to throw the agent under the bus, but if I have to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. I don't like doing that. But anyway,
But I will.
yeah.
All right, so I will see you in a few, and we'll talk to William.
Okay.
Bye.
So really excited about my friend Dominique Panassi's new sexymetals.com site. She was my co-star in Beverly Hills Pawn, and we worked alongside each other for 3 years, and I'm just so proud of her. She has a new site called sexy-metals.com. It is a unique estate treasures in gold, platinum, silver, diamond, and gemstone. She has a promo code Cory10. That's Cory10. Cory10 is the promo code for sexymetals.com, sexy-metals.com, and you will receive a discount. She has everything from engagement rings to mini gold hoops to Cartier. She has estate jewelry. She has memorabilia. I mean, there's just cuffs and chains and earrings and signed pieces, brooches and pins, sterling, charms, necklace and pendants. She's got collars. She just has a ton of beautiful items that come with a story. Most of them come with a story. Look at that Tiffany hammered sterling pendant. Wow, that was beautiful. And they're really reasonably priced. That was like $400 for anything Tiffany for $400 is a great price. And she has a lot of vintage things on her site, and it's just easy to navigate and it's beautifully designed. So I encourage you to just stop by and see if you could find something for your loved one. It's very reasonable. She has high ticket items and affordable prices. It is sexy-metals.com. I might have to get that little pearl crown charm pendant.
Join host Aaron Templin on the Pod Up Podcast with new episodes released every Sunday morning on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform where you stream your podcasts. If you're interested in the latest news, sports, entertainment, and current event topics, along with casual fun conversations and guest interviews, then the Pod Up Podcast is something to check out. Topics are arranged so there is something for everyone to enjoy. Listen, drop a follow, and leave a review. All feedback is greatly appreciated. That's the Pod Up Podcast with host Aaron Templin.
Let's start the show.
Let's start the show.
I said that. Let's start the show.
You did say that. Let's start the show. You want to say it again?
Yeah, but then you'll just repeat me and we'll say it all day long. We'll never get to William.
Hi, William.
Hello.
How are you? Today, we have a very special guest who I've known for a very long time. We were trying to figure out the actual years, but it actually doesn't matter because we have maintained a good, wonderful friendship, and I'm so grateful to have him on the show today. His name is William Wilson. He is known as...
Sorry.
He is known as the Clothier. He is an entrepreneur, clothing designer, a military Hall of Famer, first African-American NASCAR champion.
Really?
He won.
Wow, yes. Amazing.
He was in the pit crew, right? And
yep. Apparently
that's
Robert
the most important part of the entire, right?
Yep, apparently Robert didn't read my bio.
Apparently he didn't.
I didn't even know you were coming in until about 10 minutes ago.
I know, that's not true.
You know what's funny? I watched NASCAR my whole life. It took me about 3 hours researching to find out what NASCAR stands for. And I'm going to ask you, Cory, do you know what NASCAR, NASCAR stands for?
I've heard it. I don't remember it right this second.
National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing.
Right.
But they don't put that anywhere.
Right.
You have to do a deep dive into the Google to find that out.
Yes. And also, just to wrap it up, and he just got back from, Mr. Wilson is a golfer, and he just had a lesson. But first, before we get into all of your amazing things, Bob has a word of the day.
All right, William, this is a phobia. See if you can guess what this phobia means.
Vestophobia.
Vestophobia.
Vestophobia?
V-E-S-T-I phobia. Vestophobia.
Fear of animals?
What do you do for a living, William?
Not produce.
Oh, okay. What else do you do? What do you sell?
Custom suits.
Okay. Vestophobia. Cory?
It's the fear of vests.
Yes. No, the
fear of clothing.
Fear of clothing, yes.
He always tries to,
hey, Cory,
to tailor the...
Fear of clothing? That's a
thing.
Fear of clothing. Vestophobia is the fear of clothing, yeah.
This is the part of the show that I just let Bob run with because he gets super excited about it. But it's the fear of clothing.
Yeah, because I'm 5 years old. Thanks.
Didn't know
he's not.
For everybody out there who gets mad when I make fun of Cory, I just want you to pay attention. She makes fun of me.
I'm making fun of him too.
Very often.
Well, there's actually, honestly, I didn't even know this. There's a phobia for almost just about anything. And we've learned that there's been some crazy words out there that we've never, So this is something definitely you do not have. I have seen Mr. Wilson's clothing. He is meticulous. He is, he served in the military, in the Navy. He's a member of the, he's named Charlotte's Best Custom Clothier 2015, 2016, 2017. I have been asking him for years to make a suit for me. I can't wait for that day. He has clothed, I'm just going to go on and on for a second. He's clothed Eddie Griffin, D.L. Hughley, Oscar De La Hoya, one of my favorite fighters, George Lopez. He's done clothing for the Grammys, Oscars, Emmys, you name it. He is very and highly coveted. And I can't thank him enough for taking the time out of his busy schedule to be here today. So welcome.
Did you get shout outs on the red carpet when they say, who are you wearing? And they say, I'm wearing you?
No, they don't really ask men that much.
They don't.
That's true. Yeah, that's a shame.
That's true. Well, I would love you to just take us through your journey and how, one of the things I've noticed about you is you don't stop. Persistence is the key to success in your mind. And you have certainly shown me, as well as countless others, how to make things happen. And so just tell us about your journey and what made you go into clothing and some of the things that you've gone into.
Well, I happened into clothing. I never really had a desire to be a clothing designer at all. Like, I don't love fashion now. Like, people come up to me, they're like, oh, I love fashion. I love this. I don't. I love entrepreneurship. I really don't care about fashion at all. I'm more of a style person because style is personal. Fashion changes every 3 months. Someone decides what fashion is, but you know what style you like. So, like, I've known you long enough to know you're not going to walk around with some tight Daisy Dukes or, something. You're not going to leave your house inappropriate. You're not going to wear some of the stuff that you see people wear that they call fashionable, because that's not your style. That's not who you are. But so I like with people's style because you kind of get to know their personality, what they're into, what they like, what they don't like. So a lot of times you can tell a lot about a person through their clothing. So I'm much better to deal with style than fashion. But I owned a construction company, and I used to wear a lot of suits because I was going to a lot of meetings and stuff towards the end of it. So I always had a suit on. So one day, one of the homeowners stopped me and said, man, Will, you always dress so nice. Could you help me put my wardrobe together? And I'm like, dude, I'm a Navy guy and I build houses. I know how to blow up stuff and I know how to build houses. That's kind of the extent of my skill set. But he said, he trusted me. And so long story short, I helped him out. He started sending people to me. So I started helping them out. And then I started charging them because it was taking so much of my time. I said, you know what? I'm telling these guys what to go get. If I can provide it, there may be a business in this. Now, I had no idea there were companies like Tom James and Astor and Black, all these places. I didn't know they existed. I'm a country boy from Arkansas. We don't have that kind of stuff where I'm from. So in my mind, I was creating a whole new service category. And I had some friends, Al Wallace and Mike Minner and Mike Rucker, and those guys were still playing for the Panthers at the time, the NFL team. So I went to them, I said, if you can have your perfect clothing situation, what would it be? So I set the business up and my whole infrastructure and ecosystem and culture based on that to facilitate their needs, their desires. And it just took off. And 14 months later, I did a suit for Calvin Richardson for the Grammys, and he got best dressed on the red carpet. I was like I didn't even know they had that kind of.
That's great.
Yeah, then it just took off from there. And I was like, wow, But I just didn't know enough to know what I shouldn't do. So I did what felt natural, and it made sense, and it worked.
Now tell me, you have a storefront in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Or Charlotte's in South Carolina.
North Carolina. You're right.
North Carolina. No, right. Sorry. I know. How has that been going with COVID? How have you been weathering the storm, if you will?
A lot better than a lot of places. I've been really, God really looked out for me. They say God looked out for old folks, drunks, and fools. I'm not old and I don't drink, so I guess I'm just a fool. So this really worked out. And I partnered with a ready-made designer or distributor in LA. And that really helped too, because where a custom suit may not be in someone's budget, I can get them a ready-made suit at a fraction of the cost. So I was able to really put both of those together. And it actually did pretty well considering, just how crazy, it's been.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine you made a lot of suits for, and I don't know, I'm just asking, for weddings and local events, and everything kind of got shut down.
Well, I would have, but the good thing, like with weddings, the brides start their stuff way early. Grooms go like a month beforehand, like, hey man, I need a suit for the thing. so that wasn't necessarily an issue. But so I didn't have that problem, but I did have a lot of people that were going to get married. So they had to push their weddings back. So some of the projects I thought I was going to be doing over the course of the winter, I wasn't doing, but hopefully that'll pick back up in the spring and summer. They'll just all run down the altar and there you go.
Hang on. Are all of your suits sold at the store or can you ship it online? In other words, you have to have the person come in to fit them, or can you send them a suit and have them go to a tailor and fit it themselves? Or
can we send you their measurements and you have it made?
I have a lot of people that do that. They ship me they send their measurements. I'll do that, but I won't guarantee the fit. I'll guarantee I'll make it based on the measurements they gave me. Because if their measurements are wrong, that's not my fault. But we'll make it according to the measurements you send me. But, I fly out there. I'm out in LA all the time. So I can fly out. I fly out to the customers. or order stuff. I ship it out to I can pretty much facilitate almost anything.
And there really is nothing like a real tailored suit for your body. I mean, you can tell the difference. I can see the difference. Do you have a tailored suit?
I have 11 of them.
Oh.
My father had a tailor back in Philadelphia that I was instructed to go to. So I would always go to Philadelphia, and he would, come out with the, what do they call it when the fabric's wrapped around the piece of cardboard?
A bolt.
Yeah, the bolts. So he'd show me the bolts. I'd pick a color, but I only wear dark colors, so I would have black and pinstripe.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and then you go there, they measure you, and do the whole thing.
Well, I love seeing William's stuff on Instagram. He's always coming up with something new and innovative. And you have a new T-shirt that says "vaccinated," which I thought was genius. I was like, oh, there you go. That's how you know you can stand next to somebody now. Just get one of William's T-shirts.
There you go, because you actually have to, if you order one, because actually they went on sale today, and if you order one, you still have to send me a picture, of your vaccine, a card showing that you're vaccinated before we ship it. If you don't, we'll just cancel the order. So when you see somebody
that's a good
with shirts on, they're actually really vaccinated.
Wow, that's a good plan. I like that, and that's on your site.
Mm-hmm.
Will, can you tell me your site?
WilliamWilsonClothing.com. And for the t-shirts, just go to WilliamWilsonClothing.com/vaccinated. That'll take you to the page with the shirts.
They're really nice. Did you see them?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, they're beautifully done, and they have men's and women's.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
awesome.
I ordered some women's shirts today. They're getting pressed tomorrow. They're getting the screen printed tomorrow.
What does your shirt say right now?
Build over grind.
Build over grind.
Yep, that's one of my shirts too. It's a slogan that I live by because I don't believe in grinding. The Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. You'll have what you say. So if you look at the definition of grinding, it's the laborious act of taking two hard surfaces and rubbing them together. No matter how hard you grind, you'll only produce two things: heat and dust. That's it. And you can you can spend all day long building this big, huge pile of dust, but the first strong wind blows, they're going to blow all your work away. But you could just take one brick and just set it there, and another brick. Eventually, you got a row, then you got a wall. You build another wall, another wall, another wall. Now you got a room, so when the wind comes, you have protection. And if you keep building those walls, you build a whole house. Not only do you have room for protect yourself, but for your loved ones and the people you care about as well. So you can build an entire house one brick at a time, but you'll never build a house grinding the bricks together.
And
so
you'll just tire out, right? That is so good. I want that as a teaser.
Build over grind.
I mean, this just the scripture you gave and everything, because you're so right. A lot of us, and I've been guilty of it myself, where you're constantly, doing the same thing over and over and expecting this, like you said, a house to be built, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And,
well, it will if the same thing you're doing over and over and over is the right thing. If you're putting one brick and another brick, but problem is, it's nomenclature matter, words matter. Think about it. You don't grind an empire. You don't grind a building. You don't grind a following. You build an empire. You build wealth. You build a following. You build a community. You don't grind them. That would be wearing it down.
Right.
So, and I love what I do. So if you just listen to the definition of grinding in of itself, it's not a positive term. I'm not grinding. We all have our bad days, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not a grind. I love what I do. I couldn't imagine doing anything else other than being an entrepreneur. I love it, even though it's a hard job.
So, William, as you know, we're kind of in the middle of the show, and I'm giving the stress away. And it's so appropriate because you're a clothier. You make clothes for people. And I asked you in the beginning to think of a word if you're watching or listening to the podcast, you can drop it in below. So what is that word so we can give this stress away?
Brick.
Okay, so the word is...
brick. The reason I chose brick, remember I said build over grind, and here's that first brick. Every time you meet someone, every time you talk to someone, that's a brick towards building your life. So
perfect. That's awesome. So the word is brick. If you drop that below in the comments, we'll enter that into a contest, and then we will pick a name, and I can not wear this dress anymore. I will be sending it to
and then I can eat pasta, and I can eat pretzels and cannolis, I can eclairs.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you.
So part of your entrepreneur, because we had talked in the very beginning of this, and just to clarify, if anyone was listening to that, you don't necessarily, you said you didn't like the clothing aspect of it. You love being the entrepreneur, where you have your own business and you run your own business. And is that the only thing that you're doing right now, or are there other aspects of your entrepreneurial life that you are working on?
Well, I'm getting ready to start up another blog. Remember, I had the one that you were gracious enough to be a guest on with me. And but I'm starting a new one just on entrepreneurship, because I really enjoy speaking on entrepreneurship and giving people advice and helping. Because I remember starting my journey and making a lot of mistakes, spending a lot of money, going to a lot of places that I really didn't need to go, didn't know I didn't need to go, and things like that. So I want to be able to help people, skip over all those things and give them advice, let them understand the reality. Because one thing entrepreneurs have done, we've done a grave disservice, especially successful entrepreneurs. We've done a grave disservice to people who are just getting in, and to employees. There's almost like this righteous indignation that if you're not an entrepreneur, you're less than somebody else. So you're not someone unless you're an entrepreneur. And if everyone was an entrepreneur, who's doing the work? Everyone's not built to be an entrepreneur. I know people who own businesses who have no business being an entrepreneur, but they decide they want it because it's the cool thing to do now. They think that if you're an entrepreneur, you're a boss, you can do what you want to and things just happen. And it's a lot of work. Or they'll say things like, I'm not a good employee, so I need to be an entrepreneur because I'm not a good employee. Well, if you're a bad employee, you're going to be a bad entrepreneur too. Just more likely
Tell me a little bit about why that is, though. Is it because you don't know how to structure, you don't time management? Like, what is involved in being a bad entrepreneur, just so to speak?
Well, to be a good employee or an entrepreneur, one, you got to have control of your time. You have to be held accountable for what you're doing. You can't blame a bunch of other people for it. You have to have structure, at least to some level of structure. You have to have a plan. You got to be able to sacrifice. You got to be able to just push other stuff aside. Sometimes, you want to go do this, or it may be more fun, but you got to focus on what you're doing because you have a deadline and you have bosses. The difference with, like, when you were on BHP, you had one person that everyone had to answer to. So if you got cut from the show, they let you know, hey, don't come back tomorrow. As an entrepreneur, I don't know I've been fired till I see someone that was a customer wearing a new suit that I didn't make. I'm like, oh man, I got fired. So you're always at someone's mercy. But people have this mindset, like, as an entrepreneur, you're a superhero and all you do is win and you just make money every day and everything is just unicorns and sprinkles and sprites. And it's just not the way entrepreneurship works. It's a lot of work. I love it, but it's a lot of work. So
when you were a kid, what was your dream? What was your passion? What was your desire?
It's weird because I've been an entrepreneur my entire life and just didn't know it. Like when I was in the third grade, I would buy like a dollar's worth of candy and I would break it up. Or I'd buy like a quarter's worth of candy and I'd break it up like a pack of Now-Laters. It'd be like a quarter. I'd break those up and sell them at 25 cents a piece. Like I was making,
I love it.
Yeah, I was making $25 a week in the third grade, buying a dollar worth of candy, just breaking it all up.
That's actually genius, because I bet you kids even now to this day would give you 25 cents for on the playground, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Yeah, when I was in the Navy, I would loan people. When I was in the Navy, like we'd be out to sea for 3-4 weeks or whatever. We'd come pull into this really cool port, and we had what we call duty, which is like you stay on the ship. There's always somebody on the boat, and every 3 days when you're out of home port, for us every 3 days somebody had to have duty. So what I would do, I'd take someone to duty that first night because we would get in sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock. Half the day's gone anyway. I would say, look, and they're ready to get off the boat. Say, look, I'll take your duty day for $100. Then I got $100. They leave, go have a good time, whatever. They get a chance to scout out the area, find all the cool places. I got $100. I leave now. When I get off, now I got extra $100 in my pocket, and I know where to go. And I would loan, and the guys that were drinkers, I would loan. They blow through their money quick. So I'd loan like 100 for 150, 175, and the whole deal was, when on payday, I got my money first. If I had to go find you to get my money, I would never give you money again. So they knew that was the rule. So on payday, I would get 175 from this person, 200 from this person, 150 from this person. I went Yeah, I went so long. When I first went to the Navy, they actually got a check, had to go cash it or deposit it. I went so long without cashing a check, I had to get 6 months worth of checks reissued to me because the checks were only valid for 6 months. But I went a
Because you
year
were
without
making
cashing a
money.
check.
You were just making
Yeah.
money.
Ever watched the movie or the old TV show Sergeant Bilko?
Mm-mm.
Sergeant
That's
Bilko,
before
Steve
my
Martin
time.
remade the movie, but it was an old TV show in the 70s or 60s. But it was a guy in the Army, and all the scams he was running in the Army, not scams, but, he would lend people money.
Entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurship in the Army, yeah. Look up Sergeant. Steve Martin made a pretty good movie, but the original TV show was great. But it's called Sergeant Bilko.
I have to
remember
check that
now.
out. Yeah, I've
So
heard
how
the
long
name,
were you
I
in the
seen
Navy?
episode.
How long were you in the service for? Thank you, by the way, for your service. How long were you in the Navy
You're
for?
welcome. 8.5 years.
Wow.
What
Yep.
was your ship?
I was a submariner. So I was on USS Scranton. I got my Dolphins on the Bergall. Then I went to the Scranton. Then I went into special operations.
Wow.
Oh, well, yeah.
Is it still? I know during World War II as a rule. Is there still a height limitation for submariners?
No, our weapons officer was 6'8".
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so maybe if you're like 7'2", you can't be on or something.
Well,
but
yeah. Well,
like I said, he was
play ball if you're 7'2", but
yeah.
So
he was
tell me
6'8".
then, you were in the Navy, and then
Mhm.
how did you transition into on the pit crew for NASCAR?
Well, I was working at a construction company at the time, and there's 3 NASCAR races in Charlotte every season. They got the All-Star race, the Coke 600, and the Bank of America 500. Well, it used to be Bank of America 500, it's the Roval 400 now. They do all 3 of those races in Charlotte. Like all the race teams are in Charlotte. Every race team on NASCAR is based in Charlotte or the surrounding areas. But I went to a race with my coworkers, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool. So I said, I want to get involved in this. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, what? And a guy named Steve Allen looked at me, he said, look around you. When I looked around, the only people that looked like me had event staff on their shirt. He said, it's hard enough to get involved in NASCAR if you know someone. He said, you don't know anyone and you're black. But the next year, because I've developed a driver training program, and I wanted to drive first, like everybody knows. If you watch football, you want to be a quarterback.
Nothing too big or small, right?
Yeah. But I just went knocked on doors. Again, I didn't know enough to know what I wasn't supposed to do. So I just put this program together. I literally just went knocked on doors and just got meetings with people. They all said the same thing. I was too old, which was true. But these kids started driving. They're like 3 or 4 years old. They're racing go-karts and stuff like this. But one of the one of the GMs of the team, I said, well, can I at least hang out? I really got to where I enjoyed NASCAR. I didn't grow up watching anything. I just saw it like it was like, this would be a cool kind of deal. But he let me hang out, and I decided I would go to pit practice, and I decided I want to be a jackman. So I said, So I just started watching, really focused on what he did. Then I went home. Like I said, I owned a construction company, so I had my guys build a pit wall. Do you know what like pit road, all that stuff is? Do you know what that is?
Right.
I know because some people,
Yes.
listening may not know.
Yes.
But when the drivers come off the track, we changed all the tires and all that stuff. That's what we did. I was the guy that jacked the car up on both sides. So I would go home and I built a pit wall, and I bought a 45-pound weight because the jacks at that time were 35 pounds. So I bought a 45-pound weight, and I would practice jumping off the wall and all the stuff I saw at practice. And then when the guys would finish practice, I'd take one of the jacks and I would go back outside and I would just set the jack, lift the car up, drop it back down, just replaying in my head what I saw them do, but as if I was the jack man, not them. And I did that for almost a year, and no one knew it. No one had any idea. So the next season, they're getting ready to go down for Daytona. We're going to start pit practice, and our jack man had hurt his back kind of tweaked. They didn't want to take a chance of him hurting his back, just for practice. So they're going to cancel practice. And I begged our crew chief, he's like the head coach on a team, the crew chief is. So I begged our crew chief, just give me one shot, let me just try it. Because he had no idea I'd been practicing at home. So
Wow.
I had to sign all these waivers. If I hurt myself, I wouldn't sue the team and all this stuff. But we did. We were only like 4/100ths of a second slower than what they were doing. And he kind of looked like, what the heck just happened? So he said, set him up again. So by the time we finished, our last 3 stops were the 3 fastest stops they'd had the last 2 years.
Wow.
So then they signed me as like the backup guy. because they already had their team set. They had a team set, travel logistics, everything was set for the year. So now I'm traveling with the team, but I'm sleeping on roller beds, rollaway beds, at the foot of the bed, just wherever I could fit in. But it was cool because I was just there. I was the backup guy. I was doing something people told me was going to be crazy to do. And we were in South Boston. Jack Man made a couple too many mistakes, and they said, "Wilson, you're in." And that was it. Once I was in, I never gave up the position. Then halfway through the next season, they switched me mid-race. And to another team, we had 2 trucks on our team. So they switched us to the other team because they were in championship contention. So they switched me over there. The rest was history. The next year, we won a championship.
That's amazing. Let me ask you something, because
Wow.
I don't know this, but remember a grocery store, when they had paper bags, they would store your bags. They used to have competitions in Vegas called the Bag Boy competition, where how fast you could do it. Do they have competitions for pit crews against other pit crews when the race is not going on, just to see who's the fastest?
We used to. They used to call it the Pit Crew Challenge. They did it once a year. They have been doing it. I think they stopped maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. But they used to every year. They'd have the Winston Cup preview where they preview all the new paint schemes for the cars for that year, the new sponsors, all that kind of stuff. And they would do a Pit Crew Challenge where like the best pit crews would compete against each other. But we still have like a combine now though. We have like a pit crew combine. Like it's almost harder to make a pit crew than an NFL team now. Because they recruit guys like right out of high school, right out of college, like football players, track guys, people that are used to working on a team, or they get guys that like went to an NFL camp but didn't make a team. They'll go with them because they're used to working on a team. They're used to being focused. They're in shape. They're agile. So it's a lot. Because
a lot of people don't realize that how hard it is. I mean, it's very hard to get involved and get to the top levels of sports, but the umpires, the referees. I was on a cruise once, and there was a kid about 17 or 18, and he was in umpire school. And he said, it is, now keep in mind, people who are drafted in the Major League Baseball, only 4% of them get to the show, the major leagues. He said it's easier to become a professional baseball player than it is to become an umpire. Because there's so few spots, they umpire forever. These guys are 50, 60 years old, they're still umpiring. He said, I'm in school. He said, I'll probably spend my entire life in the minors and maybe make it to an MLB game when I'm in 45 or 50. But it's very hard, and nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you should literally have a movie about that.
Absolutely.
Because
look at the NHL. You've got, on any team, you've got 20 people suited up. So you've got 20 skaters on each team. There's only 2 refs and 2 linesmen. So if all 30 teams played or 31 teams play, you got 15 games, which means there's only 60 referees, where there are over 600 players.
Yeah. And those are the ones that made it.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Right, but this is such a special circumstance. I mean, you went home and you built yourself a wall and you practice. And, that's when you have kids, I have a child, that's what you tell. These are the stories you tell them, that you can do anything, right? The Bible says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But you took the knowledge that you had with your construction company and you built it, right? What was that movie with Kevin Costner? Build it and they will come. You really did. You built a wall, you practiced, and when the time came, you got to implement that knowledge in a second.
More importantly, you took the time. Then when they offered your position, it was a very low-level position. You were hanging around the team. You didn't get your shot until a year or 2 later, right?
Yeah. I wasn't on. At that time, I wasn't on the team. The GM let me hang around so no one could make me leave because the top guy said I could hang out. He just told me just make sure I stay out of the way, but I just got to know the team, so it worked out. But I want to say one thing though, because you said something that I hear a lot of people say that they quote Philippians and say I can do all things through Christ. They focus on I can do all things. They leave out they don't focus on the most important part, which is through Christ Jesus, because you can do all things that Christ has you meant to do. Because some things you're just not meant to do. No matter how hard you try it, you're not going to make it. That's not where God wanted you to be. So we can do all things through Christ. So if God co-signing on us, we can do it. The road may be tough, but we can do it. If that's not what God meant for you to be, you can work and work and work and work and work, and you may not get there because that's not in God's will for you to do it. It could be for any number. It could be because if you get there, you're gonna mess up a whole lot of stuff. Well, God may have a specific purpose for you. I think He has a specific purpose for everyone, but the purpose he has for you wouldn't get completed if you went down this road. He wanted to go down this road. So we could do all things through Christ, not on our own, not just our hard work, our focus, our dedication. That's why I tell everyone, like, I've been blessed to do the things I've done. Because I know there's a lot of people that wanted to be on a pit crew or wanted to get, involved in clothing. The amount of people that I've met since I started working in fashion, in the fashion industry, they're like, oh, I love fashion. I love this. I'm like, I don't. I love the business. But I guess that's where, the talents God gave me, the skills God gave me, and the position God wanted me to be in led me here, because I never had a desire to do this. I've never taken a design class. I've never taken a fashion class.
That's
and
amazing.
The only clothing I've ever sold in my life were William Wilson clothing. So I never even worked in retail before I started this business.
But do you see how things can just happen overnight? I mean, and it truly is a testimony to you though too, because you're really positive. I don't think I've ever heard a negative thing come out of your mouth. And you said it in the beginning of this interview, there's life and death in the power of your tongue, right? It's like a rudder that guides our ship. And we talk about this a lot. And it's true. You can bless yourself or you can curse yourself with the power of your own tongue. And you can guide yourself in an amazing direction. And, growing up for you, was that how you grew up? Is your family very positive, or was this something that you've had to overcome and really press into, or what was that? How do you apply this? How are you? It amazes me when people, if you're in the Brady Bunch and it's all, roses and you were raised that way, that's one thing, but tell us a little bit about
that. Definitely wasn't I wasn't raised in that situation at all. To this day, I don't know my father. My father had a stepdad growing up, but he was abusive to my mom. She's divorced, remarried since then. That's why I do so much stuff for domestic violence. But no, I remember being, I was like a kid. They got married, I was like 2, so I don't remember that part of it. I remember being 5 years old, and I was, because I thought he was my dad. So I always called him daddy. And one day he was mad. He threw a candle at me and said, "I'm not your effing daddy." I was like 5 years old, and I remember that like it was yesterday. So I've always, even in my house, like I always felt like the loner, like the outsider. But I've always liked to learn. I'm a naturally curious person. So I like to learn things, I like to know things and see how they work and how they operate. Just, it starts off like when you're in school, when you're taking a math problem and the teacher tells you show your work. So it's that kind of deal. I like to understand how things work, how businesses work, how people think, how processes work. So I fell in love with processes. But somebody told me a long time ago, said, you get to decide how you feel about stuff. And I try to be a good person. So I figure if I try to be a good person and I speak positively, positive things happen. So that's what I just try to do. Now am I always happy? Am I always, this upbeat person? No one is. Like, no one can be, even Jesus wasn't happy all the time. But I just try, my role in life, the mantra I live by is be as happy as you can without hurting anybody. So I just kind of do my thing. I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to be happy. I want everybody to just be carefree, just care about people. Just try to be good people. Because the Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. I just try to be a good person, and everything else kind of takes care of itself.
Who led you to your faith?
Well, it's weird. Like, I was sent to church as a kid. Like, we didn't go as a family, but I had to go to church every Sunday. So we went, and I really didn't get a lot out of it. Like, the first time I got saved is there was a weekend before I turned 17, because a kid named Michael Collier had said, if you don't get saved before you're 17, when you die, you're going to go to hell. And
he gave you an actual age. That's so cute.
And I didn't know I didn't know enough to know he was wrong, but I knew I didn't want to go to hell. So I went and got saved. But then when I was in the Navy, I started going back to church, because the things we were having to do in the Navy and the death and things that I was seeing that I was a part of, I was really having a hard time reconciling my Christianity with the things that we were doing. And my pastor at the time, he was a Korean War vet. So I was able to talk to him. He really kind of put things in perspective for me. And, I got baptized all over again and all that. So I still have my flaws though, but I just try to be the best person, I try to be the most authentic and best me I can be, and let the rest of it kind of, with the understanding that I'm not perfect. I have flaws, but I own them. I own all my flaws. You say, William, you're insecure. Yes, there's some parts of me that's insecure. There's parts of me that's selfish. There's parts of me that's, it's all of us, We all have some ego. We all have, I like to think we all have some good in us. Some people just try to push it down, but I think we all have good in us, even though we're born in this sin and iniquity. We allow ourselves, we have good in us. And I just try to operate on that versus all the negative stuff.
I love that. As you're talking, you're using your hands, and I keep seeing this big ring, and I'm like, wait, what is that ring from? Can you tell me what that ring is from? You can't see it if you're just listening to the podcast, but you have this beautiful, it looks almost like I see, it's a 3, it's got a W on it.
It's called a legacy ring. So I've got 3 NASCAR championships, and like I said, my military Hall of Fame induction. If I were to do like an appearance or something with all the rings, if I had to take all of them, because of the insurance I have on my rings, I'd have to take a security person with me. So Johnson's made, they call it a legacy ring. So there's my 3 rings, the 3 championships on it. But the people on the podcast can't see it, but it's
beautiful.
It's got my Hall of Fame induction on one side, Hall of Fame logo. Then it has my first championship on the other.
That's really cool. Tell me a little bit about your Hall of Fame, the Military Hall of Fame. Tell us why you are in the Military Hall of Fame.
I don't know who nominated me, because you had to get nominated, but I was
They don't tell you?
Class. Huh?
They don't ever tell you who nominated you?
I don't know. I never really thought to ask. I was like, they just informed me that I was going to be inducted. I was like, how? Oh no, they informed me I'd been nominated, but they didn't tell me who nominated me. But they said I was nominated, and I would find out if I got elected or not, or selected or not. And about, I want to say like 3 or 4 months later, they sent me a letter in the mail and let me know I got it, accepted to the Hall of Fame, the inaugural class of 2018.
Wow.
But you can get in. Now, I'm not from North Carolina. Like I said, I'm from Arkansas. I've lived in North Carolina now over 20 years when I got out of the Navy. But you had to live in North Carolina at least 10 years or be from North Carolina. You can get in from your military experience or the community service, like the stuff you do in the community. And I actually got in, which I'm very proud of, even though I've done a lot of things in my military career that I've gotten a lot of awards stuff for. I actually got in for my community service work, which makes me feel really good, because I got in for something I'm really close to that other people can still do. I can go talk to a group of kids and say I got in the Hall of Fame for doing good things, not just for my military career. So even though people that may not want to go to the military still understand, it's still important to do good things for people and treat people right, try to help as many people as you can.
You're right. You're absolutely right. The Bible says that. Too much is given, much is expected. And it also says, whatever you do not do for the least of me, you do not do for me. So you're out there doing it. Yeah. My grandpa was in the Navy. He was on the LSD. He was a gunner and he was a chef.
LSD?
It was called the LSD. I have the plaque at home.
Is this the name of the vessel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. There's a landing craft. Marines.
Yeah, LSD is a landing craft, right?
Yeah, they transport Marines.
Yeah, he was in the Navy.
It's an LSD. There are many of them. LSDs are the boats that go from
like
the big ship to the shore.
Something.
When you see it drop down like D-Day,
yeah, it had a
that's
number.
an LSD. Right.
It had a number, but what I have, and I don't know if you had this, William, but I still have it. It's an autograph book from everyone on the ship and the captain and everything, and it's kind of cool because I got to see what everyone thought of my grandpa, back then. So I don't know if you guys did that when you were on the ship.
We didn't do that. That's awesome.
That's one of the most dangerous positions in the Navy or Marines, because you're storming the beach. You're the first person they're shooting at.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was your title on the ship? What did you do?
I was a sonar technician. Did you ever see? Did you see Hunt for Red October?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Jonesy, Cody B. Pants.
Oh, you were Jonesy. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what a sonar. He was a sonar technician. So we're kind of like the eyes and ears of the boat, because when you're underwater, you can't see anything. Everything is by sound. So you really operate through subsurface hydroacoustic analysis. So you're listening to things. You're listening to, you can listen to a boat tell how many blades are on the propeller, how fast it's going, and different frequencies. If it's a cargo ship or a submarine or a warship, or it could be a low-flying plane. You can just know all those things based on the data that you hear from sound.
Wow.
Or it could be a whale, right? That's it.
And I have I have a thing about small spaces. Did that ever,
When you were claustrophobia?
Yeah, it was claustrophobia. It's one of our fear words. Was that ever a problem for you when you were down there? Or no?
No, it didn't bother me at all. But I think it's one of those things you adjust to the environment around you.
Right.
So I remember the first time going on a submarine, I'm like, wow, it felt small, but everyone just moved around like it was normal. So it just, because it seemed normal to everyone else, it just feels like a normal thing. And then the first time I went on an actual, like an aircraft carrier, my perspective was so weird. I'm like, there's a bunch of wasted space up here. You know,
right?
Us, everything has to have its place. Everything belongs in a certain place. There's a certain way you did things, when you loaded food, everything. So you go on an aircraft carrier where there's so much room, or an LSD or an LPH, you know, because the LSD and LPHs are kind of similar vessels. But you go on those big boats, you're like, man, there's just room for days. Like, we never had that kind of room.
Right.
But, you know, you just adjust to what you're used to.
When you were on the sub, what's the longest you spent underwater before submerging? No, I'm sorry, before
89
surfacing.
days.
89 days.
Before
Wow.
surfacing.
Before surfacing, yes.
Wow.
89 days.
Were you eating out of packets?
No, we ate good.
You did?
Submarine sailors eat good. We eat very well.
They must have, because my grandpa he was Italian and he was a chef. Like, they have an actual chef on there making some good meals. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now, if you could do anything other than clothing and being an entrepreneur, what would it be?
I love my goal. If Jesus came and say, William, what do you want to do now? This is the only thing you can do. You have to do it for the rest of your life. I'd love to go speak. I just want to just go do speaking engagements. I would love to do that.
Why don't you do that now?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to. Like, I've been trying to find an agent for that forever, because I don't really understand that world. Like, you know, how to book the gigs, and how to, you know, people like, I'll talk to this person, say, you were the speaker bureau. Then you talk to this people, they're like, no, I don't get involved in the speaker bureau. They just take your money, don't do anything. So I've been wanting to get like a booking agent forever, just trying to find one.
Well, I'm going to set you up with one of those after the show. Bob's going,
we know a few
I'll
people.
set you up with a booking agent after the show.
Oh, sweet. I appreciate it.
I think you should.
I've got a film and commercial agent here, but she only does film and commercial, but she only does Southeast, which goes from Virginia to Georgia, because oddly enough, Florida isn't considered the Southeast.
Huh.
Go figure.
Where is it?
So, it's like its
Northwest.
own thing. So when she reps me from Virginia to the tip of Georgia and as far west as Texas. So if I like book something in LA, like some movie or film, whatever want me in LA, I can book it myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cory and I know a few people, so we'll get you a couple phone calls.
Well, you're always just so inspiring, and I think if you just narrow down what it is that, you know, I mean, your stories are real, and you know, speaking to an audience is somewhat helping them, you know, encouraging them and helping them get to the next level of their life, right? And you obviously have the experience, and your stories are so encouraging and inspiring. I think that you should do what you want to do. And the Bible says, I keep saying this, Bob's like, delight yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. And if you have a passion and a desire, it's usually from him. So if he's saying that to you, like, I actually would want to sing for the rest of my life worship music. I'm not shy about saying that. But that would be I would just fall right into that and feel so good about that, you know, and get paid for it. Right. I mean, if we're talking about it being a job, but I think that if that is a desire in your heart, and I always try to encourage kids and teens and people of any age, that you can always chase your dreams. You can always chase your desire, and it's there for a reason, you know?
Oh, absolutely. But I always a person that, because I was talking with my mentor a few years ago, and he's like, Will, why aren't you doing this stuff? I'm like, I need to, in my mind, because I've seen people, they want to write books and they want to do all this stuff before they really have a story to tell. They just want to be famous. So they want to speak and all this stuff. I said, I wanted to have a resume together where I wasn't a one-trick pony, where I just walk in and say, hey, you can do it, but don't have a track record behind me. You know, I want to have a track record.
I think you have the track record.
Yeah. Well, I built it now. So now I feel comfortable. I feel, and this may sound weird to a lot of people, but my military career, I'm like, in my mind, there's millions of people started military. And then like the NASCAR stuff, like, yeah, but people win NASCAR championships all the time. Like in my mind, because I didn't see, you know how it is, like probably like you were on BHP, because you work in that industry. Like the way I see that kind of thing versus the way people in your industry, we see it two totally different ways. So I'm like, man, they're on TV, they're doing it big. You may be like, hey, this is cool. I'd really like to do this kind of thing. So it's all a matter of perspective. So in my mind, I wasn't worthy to get in front of a group of people and speak to people on development, teamwork, and success and things like that. But now I feel between the three things I've done, I've succeeded in them. Now I feel I have a track record and experience to be able to speak on someone and feel like I have, the authenticity and the legitimacy to do it and still have credibility.
And God says, I've prepared you for a time as this. So maybe it's your time. And once you say it and you speak it as though it is so and it's out there, things just happen. As it is written,
so it shall be.
Right. Oh, say that again, Bob.
As it is written, so it shall be.
Right. So you just spoke it. So I'm excited for you. That I would go pay to see you speak.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate that.
Well, William, people don't know this, but you had reached out years ago, and you were in LA, and I met with you, and you were just the nicest person, and really kind, and a good heart, and I can see why people voted you into the Military Hall of Fame, because you probably helped a lot of people along the way on that ship and in the military, and so it came back. Right?
I try to. It goes toward my death goal. Everyone has their life goals. Like I operate more from my death goal. Oh. Like when I die, I want people to miss me, because you don't miss people who didn't impact you. Like, no offense, but when Amy Winehouse died, people are like, hey, Amy Winehouse died. How? Oh, she had drugs. Like, oh, well, that sounds about right. And they went on about their day. But when Princess Diana died or Michael Jackson died, like people who had never met them, bought plane tickets and flew halfway around the world just to put a rose, on outside a fence. It just like it touched them. Like people that cried when Kobe Bryant died, people just cried and were hurt for weeks who had never met him. I'm like, so when my day comes and they put my little picture on the screen, I want somebody to be like, man, I remember meeting him. He started talking to me at the bus stop for 20 minutes and I was having a really rough day. He just talked to me. He was late getting where he was going, but he just made me feel like the most important person in the world. Or he just sat and talked to me or helped me out here. Or, he knew I left my wallet. He paid for my food, or he bought me groceries for the week because he heard my story that I'd been fired from my job. Or I just want to be able to leave an impact on people where I know I actually touch lives versus I don't want to be known. I don't want to die and all they can say is, he's a really good businessman. He made a really great suit. I want them to say I was a good person. I left the world. I can't change the world, but I want to be able to change someone's world. So if I can just help some other people or just make their lives better, I win.
No, that's a good point. And I actually live very close to the accident of where Kobe
like 2 miles
passed away, and I saw it from my balcony
Really?
happen. Yes. And then drove to the site moments later, and literally within 15 minutes, they blocked the street off, and the entire street was...
You saw the helicopter go down?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was straight through my... I didn't see it go down. I saw because there was a lot of fog that morning. Right. I just saw and heard the explosion. And, but to your point, within an hour, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that literally came off the freeway and through Malibu Canyon, and they blocked it off, and they literally, and it was for a month and a half later, they kept coming. And so I understand what you're saying. You want to make an impact with your life, the life God gave you. And that's a beautiful thing. That is. I think that's, what we're all called to do, right? We're here for a plan and a purpose. I'm so sorry. I'm playing with my pen. I'm getting dirty looks. I want to
I
ask
didn't give you a
before-
dirty
I know
look.
you didn't.
I just
love
was
you,
shocked
Bob.
that there was such a loud noise during our recording.
Well, I'm always inspired by you, William, because you have an idea and you really do make it happen, and you're always inspiring to so many others too on your sites and all your social media. And I just want to thank you personally for being just an amazing gift in my life. Before we kind of wrap up, though, we have 3 questions that we like to ask you.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the show, but I would love you to describe in 3 words. Tell me 3 words to describe about yourself that you would describe yourself in. What's wrong
That's a
with me?
wonderful sentence you
That's
put together.
terrible. It's awful. Let me start that over.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Yes, William, I'd like you to describe yourself in 3 words.
Protective, dependable, and down to earth. Well, I guess down to earth would be, that's 3 words in itself.
Okay.
Down
We'll give you
you
that.
can say 3 phrases.
Accessible is true, yes.
Accessible. Even
Those
though I've
are
been
all
told
3.
I'm too accessible, but I try to be accessible to people. People need help, and I like to.
Yeah,
I
they
like to help
do.
myself.
And I don't think you can ever be too accessible. I think, those that aren't and they have that ego and they aren't accessible, I always told people on my way in my career, I told God actually, and I've said this before, that if I ever get to a place where I can help someone in this industry, I will, because it's so, so difficult. On my way over here today, I'll just share this little story. I had contacted one of the major agencies, acting agencies, excuse me. Sorry. And to speak to one of their talents there. And they literally will just not take your call. And I just thought,
The agent or the talent?
the agent.
No.
I won't say who it is, because I'm not really about throwing anyone under the bus, but it's very typical. If they don't know your name or they're not familiar with you, they just will literally they will not take your call.
Right.
And it's just a constant reminder in my book that I will never be like that. If somebody needs me or wants to get a hold of me, I'll be accessible. I'll do what I can. I might not be able to help you, but I may be able to send you to somebody who I can. But just ignoring people, I don't think is, but that's typical in the industry, the entertainment industry.
Oh, trust me, it's like that in any place any industry that has an hierarchy. Those kind of things happen. Because I was on Facebook one night. It's like 2 a.m. I'm doing I'm on Skype, having a Skype interview with one of my fabric suppliers in England. I'm doing 2 others, like talking to 2 other people through the chat. I got like 12 chats open on Facebook. I'm just talking to people left and right. This lady pops on. She's like, hey, how you doing? So I'm like, how you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm great. Blah, blah, blah. So we exchanged maybe 8, lines of transfer of communication. And she said, well, I know you're busy. So it was like 2 a.m. She says, I know you're busy, so I'll let you go. And what caught me, though, she said, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, because most people like you don't talk to people like me. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She became top of the list. I was like, what does that mean? And she said, no. I said, I'm just like you. She said, no, you're not. Like, you deal with celebrities and private jets and golfing and this and this. She said, I just go to a regular job every day. I said, no. I said, I'm the same as you. Our job may be different, but I'm still we're
That's
no
right.
different. It may look different from the outside, but that's what gave me a chance to really realize how other people saw me versus how I see me.
Yeah.
And it really gave me a chance to it was a reminder to always stay grounded. And just the fact, just saying hello to somebody, it may be nothing to you, but to them, it may be like the biggest thing ever. They could, and I'm sure you get this all the time. 2 people that they tell you, they inspire you, or they follow you on all your social media. They saw you on television. Then they reach out to you. You reach back out to them. To you, it's just, you don't even know who they are, but they may be on the other end of that phone or keyboard, just their hands are shaking because they're like, oh my God, Cory really said hello to me. It may be the biggest thing to them.
Yeah.
And you were just like, talk to another person. So
Well,
people
and I
don't
think
people realize.
Tim McGraw wrote a song about it, and it's called Always Stay Humble and Kind. And it's a beautiful, if you can look it up and listen to the lyrics, it's really, truly It's true. Always stay humble and kind. You know, you don't know who you're going to see on the way up the ladder, who you're going to meet on the way down.
All the way down, yeah.
And it's really, as life happens and you get older, you realize you do see a lot of those people on the way up, and you do see some of them on the way down. And it's always just, we're all in this together. And so I love that about you. We are going to now do a little test called the Rorschach test. Have you ever done the ink blot test?
I haven't, but I've heard
You
of
know what
it.
it is. Okay, so I'm going to lift up an image to you, and you're just going to immediately tell me what you see.
Okay.
Okay.
Batman.
Okay.
Ooh, Satan.
Ugh. See? I'm telling you, I don't want to do this.
Two kids playing patty cake.
That's what everybody
Everybody
says. I
says,
see
yeah.
2 elephants
Playing patty cake.
playing patty cake. Yeah.
I see 2 dragons on the opposite sides of a king.
Ooh,
See?
yes. Yes. Yes, that's a good one.
I see a face print of a skull.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Those were good. Those are fast, by the way. The faster so you had the whole thing. Sorry. I'm getting yelled at. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm making too much noise.
No, you're not making too much. You're banging the table,
Oh,
banging
I'm
the
so
table.
sorry. The last question I have for you.
Imperfections make it perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, but what
Say
you
that
don't
again to Bob.
what you don't realize is that right across the desk off cabin view is a big sign that says "Do not bang the table."
It does. It actually does. And the knot is in big red lightings with an underline under it. But once again, I try my very best not to. My last question for you, William, and I can't thank you enough for all your time today and your wisdom and your beautiful stories that I love hearing. And I always, every time I talk to you, I learn something new about you. So thank you for being so transparent and open and willing to, discuss anything. But my last question for you is, who is your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush?
Mm-hmm. I have to hesitate.
I don't know.
And I'm right here.
Cory.
You know,
Marsha Thomas.
Cory.
Who?
Marsha Thomas.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it. Marsha
Yeah,
Thomas
I guess that's
will
my closest.
superimpose.
I guess my closest one because I remember like when she was on the Black Night, it's like I had a crush on her. Like I haven't really had one since then. I really don't think about it because with my career now, I meet people. So
Yeah.
like I see people I'm like ooh, just like them. Then you meet them. It's like it's harder now.
Yeah.
Well, with your career now, you're the celebrity crush.
You're the celebrity crush, William.
I don't know about that.
Well, I can't thank you enough. So tell us how we can get a hold of you or how we can, get a suit or give us all of your information.
Okay. Well, probably the easiest way to get in contact with me is through my social media at the Clothier on my Instagram or Twitter. Probably the easiest way, or through Facebook, or just go to my website, WilliamWilsonClothing.com. Just send me an email from there. Probably those are the easiest ways. But I have a question for you before we go.
Yes.
I was thinking about this earlier today. It just popped in my head. You hear people talk about putting stuff out in the universe and all this. And I have a theory, and I want to ask some other people, other Christians about this. I don't believe in the universe. I believe in God. So God created the universe. Why would I worry about putting something in the universe? I'm just saying in God's hearing. So what's your whole theory on this, put in the universe versus, because to me, you don't put things out in the universe. You speak them out loud so God can hear it. Universe is just air and relevance.
No, that's a very good question. And, I've always said to my daughter, I raised her as a Christian and, with biblical principles. And I've always said to her, speak it as though it is so. Mm-hmm. And for me, I may have say the universe it's out in the world and in general. You, like you said in the very beginning of this, there's life and death in the power of the tongue. And when you speak things, you can either set heaven into action or you can set hell into action. I believe. I'm not trying to make anybody else believe this. This is what I believe because I've seen it.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I just really feel like it is so incredibly important and powerful of what comes out of your mouth. It should edify God and the kingdom. you know? And so that's kind of how I see it. I see this whole universe as being God's kingdom, really, and his world. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but, you know, it is very important as to what we say. Very important. And there's so much being said right now, so much that that's a whole other 10,000 hours of shows. But, you know, if we can just encourage one another to love one another and be positive and be inclusive, that's like the one word I told my daughter all growing up and still do, to be inclusive. You know, we can't judge one another. The Bible says, take the plank out of your own eye before you start judging your brother or your sister. And so I kind of digressed and went on a long diatribe to answer your question, but I just think it's very powerful. Our words, they're very powerful. And I see the universe as God's kingdom.
Yeah, whenever people say, put out in the universe, I say, I'm not putting the universe, I'm talking to God. You know, I'm putting to correct them, but
he created it. He created this,
exactly.
This whole thing. So, you know, I believe the same thing, William. And I love you, and I can't thank you enough. And I can't wait to just see what God's going to do. And give me a couple days, but I will get you someone to speak to about speaking engagements.
Oh, and of course, I love you too. You're my homie. And but no, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I've watched a lot of your podcasts, and you got some really powerful people on there, some really powerful stories. I love what you're doing, and I'm honored to be on here.
Thank you. Well, I'm honored to have you. So thank you. We will talk to you very soon.
All righty, sounds good.
Have an awesome and blessed day.
And we're out.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver, and thank you for watching the Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below, and have a great day.